lekwa Nigeria ma dosa ya Chineke na dị ngosi onye ọbụla na-ekpe ekpere ka Nigeria wee wuru ofu nna nke ebere jide ndị etu a wee laa ha n'iyi Chineke na kiwe biko da kiwe kpọọ ha ọkụ kpesoro ha ọkụ ka ha gbanyeghị ndị ha bụ ọbụla ndị ụkọchukwu onye ọbụla ndị ọrụ maka kulie wee sị na ọ ga-adị Nigeria na mma ọ ga-adị na mma na-esoro na mma site gosi wee na ọchịchị pedodo gosi nzuzu na Nigeria lekwa Nigeria ma dosa ya Chineke na dị ngosi onye ọbụla na-ekpe ekpere ka Nigeria wee wuru ofu nna nke ebere jide ndị etu a wee laa ha n'iyi Chineke na kiwe biko da kiwe kpọọ ha ọkụ kpesoro ha ọkụ ka ha gbanyeghị ndị ha bụ ọbụla.
Yes, I'm sorry. I think I was muted. I didn't know it was muted. I was just talking. I'm sorry about that. Honestly, it's so annoying because I had really said lots of important things initially, but yet, well, anyway, it's one of those things. I want to welcome you to this live broadcast today. Today is the last day of the month of September. Today is 30th of September 2023, and today is Saturday, the last week, and at the same time the last day of the month. And of course we are getting into a new month, and I want to remind you guys, as I was saying before, I didn't know I was even muted as at that time. I want to remind you guys that the 1st of October is never celebrated in Biafra land. We don't celebrate 1st of October. Every one of you know that you don't need anybody to send you a particular memo to make it look like they are busy for you, or a particular press release or something, or a particular statement or a particular voice message or whatever to remind you that we don't celebrate Nigeria independence. We are not Nigerians. We can't celebrate a flag independence. We can't be fooled to celebrate a mirage Britain gave to us. We are still under bondage, and we are going to free ourselves completely from the contraption. So whoever is releasing a press brief or press statement or bringing out a particular information that the celebration of independence is banned in Biafra land does not make sense. You don't need to accord them any special relevance, because they are only trying to make you feel that they are busy, and they are just trying to make you feel that they are giving orders. You know, people like giving orders. You just see somebody who just release an order and just send it out there. You know, that's how our people are. And we don't blame them anyways. They are desperate. Some of them want you to watch their YouTube channel so that they can get money, or some of them want you to watch something so that they can make money. But first celebrated in Biafra land, and we can never celebrate it. Our leader had said it several times. We don't celebrate 1st of October. It's not part of us. It has nothing to do with Biafra. It has nothing to do with freedom, because 1st of October is not a free day. It is a day when you were given to a proxy nation. That's the Fulanese, or a proxy people, the Fulanese, in conjunction with the local politicians in your various lands, in your various tribes, to keep you under subjugation on behalf of the British contraption. Let me call it the British, not the British contraption. Now the British contraption is Nigeria, the British. So they on the 1st of October, they hand over the doctrine of control, the doctrine of slavery, to the Fulanese, to make it look like you are free, so that your fellow, black man or brown man, or what it's called, or those within your system are the ones who are in charge. And so you will now think that you're free, because you have one of your chiefs in one position politically. Then you think you are free. All these are just meant to hoodwink you and deceive you and cause you to think that you are actually free. That is mind game. So 1st of October has nothing to do with us. None of you should be talking about celebrating that, unless if you are a fool, unless if you know that you are a fool. Sometimes you can be a fool and you don't know it anyways, except if you just want to be a fool, and all of that. So independence, there's nothing like that. We're going to have our Independence Day as soon as we get our freedom. as soon as we're able to conduct the referendum and we evict Nigeria. Nigeria is never part of us. We are not part of Nigeria and all of that. I want to welcome you to this broadcast today. I've spent a whole lot of time speaking the other time and not knowing that it was not coming out because I was muted, not knowing it was muted. I'm sorry about that. I'm really, really sorry about that. And this is 4:38 p.m. Biafra time. And of course, it's Saturday, the 30th day of September 2023. We're getting into the month of October. This year is moving very fast. For those who said that they are going to give you Biafra before the end of the year, we're still waiting for them to give us. They have collected monies from you and they have told you what they're going to tell you. And of course, they keep quiet about it because they have excited you. You have jubilated and you have embraced them and you keep giving them money. Today, they are organizing another fundraising and they want you to come to give them more monies. And I just pray that those who are fools who have been doing that will realize it, that the more you are a foolish person, the more you will be foolish. The only way you can stop being foolish is to stop being foolish. That's the only way to. There's no two ways about it. The only way to stop being foolish is to stop being foolish. So get yourself into the realm of knowledge. And that is why Chukwokike have sent people like Mazen and Mekano to teach the truth and has sent people like us to be watchers, to sustain the truth when the truth brought and the mandate of freedom given to Mazen and Mekano. We now watch over the truth that now that he is extraordinarily renditioned with the help of some people within us, and he was taken away from us, the truth needs to be sustained. And so people like us were called to come into it and sustain the truth until he is out. And then when he returns, he will continue on that narrative of truth. And at the same time, he would also lead us into freedom. Now, I want you to understand something here, that Biafra project itself is, of course, it's divine. I don't need to tell you. But has come to the stage in which we must be very, very careful. Because even if it is divine, it can still be attacked. Now, whatever thing that you have that you think is divine, even your purpose in life and your future is divine, but it can be attacked. And the only way you can get your purpose destroyed is when you are able to deal with the attacks. And that is where that is where we have to begin to deal with things by wisdom, and at the same time praying effectively to make sure that we are on the path to getting our freedom. The path to freedom is not two, it's one. And that is the path of truth. You can never get truth out of lies. You can never create a situation that is outside lies and expect to get truth out of it. It's not possible. There's only one way to freedom, and that one way is the way of truth. Nothing else can give you freedom except truth. That is why Yeshua said, you shall know the truth. The truth you know will make you free. Now, the word make there is a process, because to make a thing, you require process. So the truth you know takes you through a process of freedom. You understand it now? So when he says, you shall know the truth, and the truth, that means the truth that you know now, will make you free. It is a making. It is a process. In the midst of process, there is a need to study the details if they are constant and consistent with truth. Because there is, there is this corruption and there is this loophole, especially when it comes to things that have to do with human operations, natural activities, and all of that. There are always loopholes that if you are not careful, just like scripture says that he who thinks he stands should take heed lest he falls. That means there's every need to be careful in the midst of seeking anything in life, because seeking anything in life is not enough to guarantee that you're going to get it. When you seek, you also must be careful, because attacks are there to get you discouraged, to get you distracted, and to cut you off from the process of seeking. Because seeking itself has a process. And when you don't understand these, you are going to get yourself involved in so many activities that will cut you off from the process of seeking. That is when what you find might not be what you actually wanted to find. So, but he that seeks must find, or he that seeks must find. But the truth here is, you might find what you are not even, that you don't even intend consciously that you seek. What that means is this: when you are seeking for freedom, for instance, you are seeking for freedom. You can seek for freedom utilizing every other means, but in the end, you're going to get something worse, because you are going to find something that is outside what you really thought you were going to get. That means ignorance has a way of affecting the process of seeking. But when you seek in line with truth, you would always find what you really intend. Which means that if it is not in the line of truth, you will find, but it will not be in line with what you really intend, unless if that is not what you intend. But you would find something, and yet what you find might be a destruction or might be a pain to you. So you must understand freedom. We keep talking about what we're, and today again, we're looking at Biafra projects and how we can identify those who are fraudulent. Those who... Yes, I want to remind Biafrans that giving money to people is it's not as good. Let me say, okay, let me use the word good in this sense of the same as your money to buy poison to kill a soul. Let me give you this. Let me say this, because I think it's important I give some of these narratives, to help you understand this. When someone intends to marry the other person, if you have someone you intend to marry, let me use this analogy that will help you understand very well. The purpose here is, right? You want to get married, purpose. Now, but being married is not enough, because you must understand that there's something called compatibility. That means you must be sure that this, and you can work together in every life. You are sure that this person is the kind of person you want to live with. Then what you begin to do is you begin to study this person, right? That's what happens in relationships. You study their approach, the way they behave, the way they act, just to be sure that this is the kind of person, and you can cope with this kind of attitude or this kind of action from the person, or the ways of this person. But now let me say this. In the period of your relationship before marriage, or the period of your courting and all of that, if this person begins to abuse you, or a little thing slaps you, what would you begin to imagine? You begin to think that this person is dangerous, because you know that if this person slaps me at this stage, then it simply means that when we get into marriage, where we are now tied, when we are now bound, it simply means that something more dangerous might be looming. Something more terrible might be coming, because if at this point I'm not totally theirs, I can be receiving this level of brutality or abuse, then I must watch it, because something is about to happen in the real relationship. Because something is it's not going to get better. We have heard people who say, oh, getting well, it will be good when as long as we stay together with time, it's going to get better. No, it gets worse, because when you get more familiar, you begin to now do things the way you are without being conscious of what you're doing. In fact, subconsciously, unconsciously, or somehow, whatever way, you begin to act the way you are with someone you're familiar with. because originally you have this as part of you. Now, it would be very foolish for you to see the signs of abuse, the signs of intimidation, several kinds of signs that contravenes, let me use a legal word, that contravenes or that goes contrary to what you're expecting in your relationship, in your marriage, or anything, or in your business. When you notice that this person, from the time when you are going to you want to try to get the office, maybe for this business, this joint business you want to do, and from the beginning the person is already defrauding you. You're supposed to pay 10,000 somewhere, and the person tells you it's 15,000. Later discover that the person collected more for that purpose of equipping that office. You know that this person coming into this business is going to be fraudulent. You know that this person coming into this business is going to be criminal. So these signs will make you understand who you are working with. These are the things you watch out for, everything you do in life, including freedom fighting. There are signs you must watch out for to know that there is danger ahead if these things are not fought against. If you allow these things, you are going to be in trouble. Most of the marriages you see that are destroyed, or most of the death, the brutal murder of a spouse by the other in marriage or whatever relationship, didn't just happen. There were signs that the other partner was ignoring. There's so many ladies who have died and so many men who have died in relationship that we started hearing the stories of how this sign, they did this before, this man did that stuff and all of that. There was a particular lady that the story have been that even the family knew that the man is abusing her, but because of what they are getting from the family, they were telling her to endure, things will be all right, things will work out, we'll keep settling you guys, and it's going to work out better, and your relationship will be better. God, you keep praying, keep doing what you have to do and pray, and we'll be watching. And all of this stuff led to the death of that person. Why? Signs are significant as much as signs are significant as much as the content or the relationship itself is, because signs help you to understand how this relationship can work and or cannot work, Signs help you understand how this relationship can work and cannot work. Now, in freedom fighting, in this freedom mandate that we're in right now, the Biafra project, so many things have happened so far from the moment Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped. Remember, the dragon flag was lifted. The dragon flag is an evidence of force and to make sure that we do everything to get our freedom. But everything now is overturned, and as if we're going back to the square one, who came into the system, capitalized on the situation, and began to abuse the whole process. They began to abuse the process because they seek their personal desires. And it is very easy to know those who seek their personal desires. Very, very easy. There are so many signs that are there evident. I'm going to give you some instances, some instances so that you can understand. You need to read in between lines. Because when I give you these instances, I'll give you examples of the activities of some of these people, and then you can begin to understand all of these. Now, you should also know that that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu himself, being the leader of the Biafra nation, is like a target to both those who are within, who seek to hijack the power, and also who seek that they control the resources by hijacking the power, and also to those who are outside but seek to sustain the narrative of Nigeria, and all they need to do is to look for a way of getting rid of this humble servant of God. And along the line, you have seen how it happened. For 8 good days, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped and extraordinarily renditioned. No information. Those in the DOS who knew about it never said anything. Kanunta knew about it. He told the secretary not to say anything. They all knew, most of them knew what happened to him. They all just ignored it thinking to die. So don't say anything. Let things just go. And once he's not found and things die down, they can now come out and exhume control and begin to be in charge of the resources. Now, what is the first sign I saw in that? As soon as that happened and the Nigeria contraption began to brought Mazen Kanu to court and then knew that he was. Before that, Kanunta already, as soon as Mazen Kanu was kidnapped, started actively coming all out, speaking, being very active. And some of people like Chinas and Wuru and all of that, they started being very active, more active than they used to be when Mazen Kanu was there. But all this, as at that time, we have not known that Mazen Kanu had been kidnapped. We hadn't known. But they were, check it out. I want you guys to think back because I'm giving you signs to know what is happening. Check it out. Kanunta became very vocal and very effective. Suddenly, the secretary took over Mazen Kanu's Twitter and began to post things on her own, both her Twitter and the Facebook and other platforms anyways. She began to post things as if it was Mazen Kanu. But she knew that her principal was in the hands of the enemies. She was using the social media platform, posting things. What does that tell you? Common sense. Because we want to identify it from the top. I'm not just going to tell a particular person. I want us to look at the narrative holistically. From the beginning, when Mazen Kanu was kidnapped, we want to identify, because when you follow and when you appreciate people or embrace people or try to work with people, you must know the people you work by the signs. Signs are very important. That is why even the kingdom of God goes with signs, because you need a sign, or you need signs as humans to be able to tell where to belong. That's why Yeshua said, these signs shall follow them that believe in my name, they shall. He was telling them, he said, you guys seek signs. No other sign will be given to you except the sign of the Son of Man ascending and descending. That's the sign. Sign is evidence, giving us a clue to facts. Signs. Thank you so much, Evangelist Barbara. You're right, my comrade. Why was she doing that? That is it. People should ask them their questions. Why was she posting on the platform knowing that this man is in the confines of the enemies? Nobody knew about it. Nobody knew where he was. He was missing. She was posting. Kanunta came all out and began to give orders. Chinansa became very active. The lawyer became very active. He started speaking. Even before Mazen Kanu appeared in court, they became very active. How come they became very active suddenly? Ask yourself that question. Because these are the things you have to, if you don't use your common sense, you would not know what is happening. We have to keep opening these things. You have to think deep. That is why you have brains. And that is why people are able to go to the moon today, because they think deep. You are busy. All you are looking for is one party somewhere to go by weekend. You go for party, or one IPOB meeting somewhere to go and eat Oba and abacha. That's all you guys, some of you think about. Or one contribution somewhere to just, what are we contributing next for? What should we contribute? You stupidity. You don't reason. Thank you so much, Akwanwa. Good evening, Mazi Kelechi. Good to have you. Don't really my special sister. Thank you so much. Evangelist Barbara says, you're right, my comrade. Yes, that's the truth. Thank you so much, Evangelist. Good to have you here. Hopefully, of course, we have our date for Tuesday, so that we can teach this. We'll keep informing you as much as we do the teaching. At the same time, we're bringing evidences of criminality, because I want you to learn this. Some of us have not been thinking critically, and that is why we have been, we have been defrauded. So much, you say, thank you, Akwanwa, thank you. We are being defrauded because we don't think deep. We are too emotional about everything. We want things. We just want things to happen. Things don't just happen. People make them happen. And those who make them happen according to what they want to achieve. So those who are seeking for Biafra freedom in criminality want it to happen based on what they want to achieve. As soon as they get that Biafra under take charge, the constitution mended to suit their own criminality, they get everything about it to suit their criminality, so that they will keep you under them. Slaves. They get you out of the hands of Britain, they put you under themselves to become their slaves. Just like I told you guys, like what happened, you know, just like I told you guys about Afghanistan. Today, women in Afghanistan cannot go to school. They cannot work in NGOs or in quarters, in offices. They can't work. They know what they have done for shit money. Yes, they know what they've done. Well, brother, good to have you here too. Thank you so much. Think about it deep. How come from that 19th, Mazin Namdekan was kidnapped, the secretary began to use social media platform to look like this and normal, to make you feel that nothing has happened? Which reasonable person does that? Which clean person does that? Why would Kanunta tell her not to speak about it, and then Kanunta begin to front himself, begins to give orders? You begin to see us from Ejiofor, you began to see others from Chinasa, you began to see others from Kanunta. These four people became very prominent suddenly. Ask yourself that question. My network signal, the network signal, to see if I can keep talking, because it seems it's giving me a sign here. Okay, ask yourself that question. Ask yourself that question. How come Mazin Namdekan was kidnapped? Nobody knew about it. Suddenly, these guys became very active on social media. Kanunta began to give orders. Ejiofor became very loud. The secretary began to utilize his platform to send messages. Yes, the network signal is very poor. I can see it here. The secretary began to utilize Mazin Namdekan's platform to send messages to you, and every one of us were commenting, replying, and sharing, not knowing that it's coming from one idiot lady. She was tweeting, and we were sharing because we thought it was our leader. One idiot lady sat in the office tweeting, and we were sharing. We were thinking it was our leader, manipulating a whole nation, and none of you asking questions. Kanunta knew what she was doing, because Kanunta and Co saw the tweet, and they knew that this tweet is not from Mazin Namdekan. Of course, Kanunta, knowing, Ejiofor knows that Mazin Namdekan was nowhere to be found. That was why we're now sending messages on social media so clearly. This time around, they wanted to take control. They wanted to be in charge. They had already formed the cabal. They were holding meetings, calling other people to join them. They called this one, join us here. They called this one, join us here. They called this one, join us here. And some of them they called, saw that, there's an opportunity here. Let me form my own. People like Simon. He refused to join them. But he came to paint the picture, make it look like they called me, I refused. Because I know that he called him, he had his own agenda. That was why when he went to the Republic of Biafra government in exile, that was already established, that they already formed, that place just formed for nothing. Anyways, nothing is happening there. He couldn't work with them. He was telling every one of you that you are going to hear from the prime minister soon and all of that, until suddenly he now became the prime minister. He now became the one who is the prime minister. You know more heard of those ones? He formed his own. He now took the monies You contributed to buy arms and ammunition to stop the election in Biafra land and use the monies to begin to make parties in the name of getting offices for you. They look at the rubbish they did in South Korea. Of course, I know that one will come up because I know Gaddafi very well. He will manipulate everything to make it look like they have a liaison office in South Korea. Is it Gaddafi that will manage an office? What does he have upstairs? So I know Gaddafi will fix something to make it look like South Korea is working because he's in South Korea. I was expecting him to do all of that. And of course, criminal, Simon's Gaddafi, they come together. They now tell you they have an office in South Korea. They now, look for something, print something, just at that moment, do that stuff, snap it and all of that and send to you. That's all. Nobody sees the activities going on in these places. If activities are going on, naturally, these people are people who want to brag. They would come to they will be showing you videos every day about the activities going on in the offices. You are stupid because you don't reason well. They keep stealing from you. Well, anyways, let me not go there because I'm taking it step by step. I'm taking this issue because I want to review this fraud and criminals to you. But I'm going to take it from the beginning, from the point of the kidnap and extraordinary rendition. That's the point. That's where I want to take it from. So you begin to reason along that line. Why was Kanunta? Why was the secretary? I always forget the name of that secretary. Why was the secretary utilizing the platform of our leader and sending messages to Biafrans, and Biafrans were sharing, thinking it was our leader? Why play that kind of game? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Those of you who are hailing Sam and Kanunta say, yeah, you are saying the truth here. You are saying the truth there. Hey, yes, you are doing this. You are saying the right thing. Why don't you ask Kanunta? Why did you tell the secretary? That's according to, because the two of them know, so they will tell themselves to shut up. Why did you tell the secretary not to mention that Mazen Amikano has been kidnapped? Why did you tell the secretary, Kanunta Kanu, you are the younger brother to our leader? Why did you tell his secretary not to say anything to anybody to mention it? According to what she said, according to what Chikedozie mentioned. Chikedozie and Co, you heard it. You are the head of the Directorate of States as at that time. You definitely must have heard something. You kept quiet. Ejiofor became very active suddenly. Kanunta became very active suddenly and started dishing out orders. The secretary became very active and sending messages on Twitter using the handle of our leader. And Biafrans were sharing it. National manipulation. Manipulating a whole nation. How do you recognize those who are fraudulent? You don't need to see someone kill somebody before you know that they are killers. You can see their behaviors, you can see their actions, you can see what they can do, and you sense something to know what people are capable of. No matter how they hide it. You know, some people are good in hiding. But somehow, if you study very well, you would have a clue to what this person is capable of. That alone, that singular action from Kanunta, from Ejiofor, from Chinansa, and all of these people should inform all of your followers that these people are suspects and must answer to what happened to our leader. They are not the only people. I'm just giving you, I'm taking it stage by stage because I'm using the narrative out there to help you reason. For those of you who can't reason, sometimes we have to help you reason. Now let's move from that point. After Mazen Namdekanu was brought into the contraption and was 2 days or the next day or 2 days after he was brought into the contraption, he was arraigned before the courts. Good evening, my brother. Good evening to you, Daniel. Good to have you here. He was arraigned before the courts. We saw several body language and attitude from several kinds of people. Kanunta was busy telling you how things must work. Ejiofor was busy here and there in the name of being the lawyer. He was working as if he was directly in control of IPOB. Daniel. Daniel, our leader is secure. You know, the truth about it is that our leader has overstayed in the DSS dungeon. And the most painful thing is that the resources. My brother, I don't know why you always think that Simon has. I don't know why you always like you are always saying as if Simon has some kind of ability to. Do you know how many we are in Biafra land? Do you know how many Biafrans are? So you think Biafrans are on that? Have you got? You're supposed to be in Biafra land. Do you know what is happening on ground? We're in touch. What is happening on ground? Simon does not have any say on ground. So forget all this social media noise and jamboree. Forget all this social media jamboree. The real people are not speaking. So let me not go there. So leave that matter, because I am only saying this because I'm always seeing your message talking about Simon. People are following him. This is following him. That is following him, and all of that. People definitely, even Uche Mefo has people following him. Asari has people following him. Doesn't mean that Asari is in control of Biafra land. You don't know people are following Asari. Asari, the Kubo, has people following him. You see them with their AK-47 everywhere. You see, didn't you hear OG, all those noise he was making those days? People following him. OG Innocent, the one that Simon set up and now used the Nigeria agents to disarm him. The BNG, BNL have been making noise in the borders all this while. When they speak, you think that Biafra will come to the next day. All these guys have been making noise. They are in control of Biafra land. You can have people you have given AK-47. Doesn't mean you are in control. Doesn't mean they're in control. Biafra land is very large. And there are many people. Stakeholders know what they believe. And they know. That's why you see some of them don't talk. So, let's go on. They became so loud. They were giving orders as if they know that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will languish in that place. Lots of things were happening. Suddenly, Chinansa began to divide the camp. He began to get the men, those ones who will be subject to him, those ones who will be loyal to him, based on the fact that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu gave him responsibility. Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. I will let go. Thank you. Based on the fact that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu gave him responsibility that time on the issue of ESN. So having the knowledge and that he now having direct contact with the men on ground and being the one in charge of that with some of the women and all of that, being in charge, people entered into him. Now he would be able to have the people under his direct command. network signal. Okay, I hope the network signal is clear. And then it is now time to get the men to be directly responsible to him. Responsible. Now, Chinansa began to use the men that are now loyal to him to attack those ones that are, because he needed to form a table under him. The moment they began to divide the ESN camp, that is a sign to you. If you who are followers of Chinansa and other people, there is enough sign, because if they truly loved Mazin and Bekano and they truly stand strong, come together, make sure that the ES is intact, and make sure that they've sent more supplies and strengthen ESN, because this is the time ESN and everyone will have to go to work based on the fact that Mazin and Bekano must be released and freed. This is the time they would have rallied around to make sure they bring everybody together, because we need to have one voice to free him. So for the fact that our leader is in the dungeon should have been the unifying formula, would have been the magic to bringing everybody together. Keep your differences aside and come together. This would have been it. Keep your differences aside and come together. But they began to divide the camp, divide ESN, because it was about self. It was about power tussle. It was about control. It was not about the truth. It was not about concentrating on the mandate given to one person. It was about taking over. So Mazin and Bekano brought them all together, and they now went into alliance with the devil, as Judas Iscariot did against Jesus, or against Yeshua. These are signs that led us up to the Anambra election in 2021. That's September, October time. First, they wanted to show as if they are interested in getting Mazin and Bekano freed. They talked about sit at home. They said so many things. Canons showed up and said the sit at home shouldn't hold because of those writing exams in the month of June, July. Or June, May, June. Yes, the month of July, yes. During that period, already going on. We began to see that somehow they began to dine with the Nigeria politicians. Suddenly, the sit at home was cancelled. That is when Biafrans began to react, because that was enough sign to Biafra that something is wrong somewhere. And that was when Biafrans became very desperate to make sure that the sit at home continues and things continue. So the next person they saw who is supporting their cause and they're supporting the sit at home to make sure that the sit at home continues was Simon. That was how Simon came strongly into the picture, because the people wanted to sit at home. The sit at home became a formula or the magic that gave Simon the ability or the opportunity to hijack the whole thing, because every one of us began to promote him based on the fact that he already had a media platform. And so on that level, and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has already said initially that you should listen to him, and every other person he said listen to were just misbehaving here and there. And so, and since his voice was the voice that was stronger, saying that we need to sit at home as the people have wished and supporting the wish of the people, he now gained the love of the people. That was how the people rallied around and began to promote him, began to like his page, subscribe to his channel, began to push him, and all of that. And now we understand fully how these things began. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was or is the opportunity for them all. What has happened to him was the opportunity, or is the opportunity. What has happened to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is the opportunity for them all. So that began to move, and then we began to see the real inside fighting, inner fighting. Simon began to claim that he wants to gather the ASN. I'm giving you these guys because you must know all these things are signs. If you don't know how, let me tell you something. When you see a professional, when you see the Americans, or you see the CIA or the FBI or all these bodies going into, or there's a CID and all of that, going into investigation, they are not magicians. All they need is to get signs, get testimonies, evidences here and there, signs. It is through the signs they bring 1 and 1 together, 1, 2, 3, 4 together, and it will now make sense in a particular dimension. That begin to give them clue to the crime, clue to who committed the crime. That is how people get clue to crime. That is how people get clue to some things they are not even there when it's happened. The CIA can never be where it happened. But when they come into investigation, they pick up materials, evidences, exhibits, get some people around there, and from them they get ideas, signs. There are ideas and signs in this regard now. They get all these clues to how this crime must have been carried out, or how something happened, or what happened here. That is how they get evidences. That's how they get facts. So if you, as a Biafran, don't have the sense to understand that all you need to know what happened to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is to look out for the actions, the inactions, the behaviors, and everything the people around you are doing, you will not understand this. So even if they refuse to set up a fact-finding committee, you have your brains. Look at the story. Look at the actions of people. Look at what they did after the news of the kidnap. Look at what they did during that period. Nobody was saying anything, but he was already kidnapped. Look at the things that were done after that, how they began to divide the camp, how they now liaised with the Nigeria contraption, how they now sold out and gave in to Anambra election. These are signs. You don't just move like a zombie and walk around without thinking. You must be reasonable. That's what makes you intelligent. That's what makes you intelligent. Anambra election, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said it was not going to hold. And some of them were given the narrative that sometimes he cancels the decisions. For God's sake, this man is already in the bosom of the enemy. As long as there is an order given that will frustrate, in fact, be activated. As soon as that happened, there was no need for, in fact, you don't talk about political solution when your leader is in the confines of darkness. No. It can never give you freedom, because what we are seeking is freedom. We are not seeking for autonomy in a way, or seeking for a particular thing to be done. In that light, even when your leader is captured, you can have political solution. But when you are talking about outright freedom, you don't talk about political solution, because when it is political solution, there is a political balance between this part and the other part. And as long as what you are seeking is not a political program, it's a freedom program, you don't go into negotiating politically. What you do is you implement what has been laid down by your leader. The dragon flag had already been lifted. What needed to be done is actions that would show the evidences of that dragon flag. Actions that will project more loudly and resonate in the camp of the Nigeria contraption, including in Britain and all their allies. And what are the actions? Everything that must crumble Nigeria would have been immediately activated. 1, the sit at home activated. 2, Anambra election, no election, total, no matter what, no more, nothing. 3, you know what I'm talking about. Lots of things. I'm not going to mention some things. I'm not going to mention some things. This is what we are talking about. This is freedom fighting. This is not family. That's why they're getting it wrong. Because when they go for their gatherings, you hear IPOB, one family. That's one family gives a wrong mental understanding or impression about the whole narrative of freedom fighting. Because you are just looking at a family where you come to contribute monies, and you contribute money and they tell you they want to. Imagine them now telling them to contribute. They want to build a security post in Mazin and Mekano's compound, or they want to build a structure, a particular structure. When it comes out, he's going to be going into that place. What's nonsense? We are talking about the dragon flag being up. The leader, our leader, your leader, my leader, erected, and based on what he knows this is freedom fighting. And he said, in fact, when you kidnap me, you know what to do. Burn down. That means activate everything that will crumble the zoo. The power of research and fact finding. That's it. We must come together. And the time has come. I am revealing this stuff one after the other. Now listen. As soon as Anambra election was held, that alone should have been a red flag. That alone is a red flag. And as soon as it came, after that, of course, we now said that we're not going to have the DOS. We want to open a very clean slate to begin. Everybody decided that unconsciously anyways, collective decision without discussing. Somehow everybody now accepted that somehow and all of that. And that was how Madam Co were told to give accounts, and they couldn't give account. Including the so-called Azuka that is telling people not to ask her for accounts today. Evangelist Barbara, please brought them where them to give accounts and that they're accountable. That particular stuff, I think I have it somewhere, but which means that giving account is very, very important, because you cannot be utilizing the resources of the people and not giving account. Yes, Nigeria doesn't mean you go and start setting things. Activate everything that will crumble economically, and they will come begging. Will not have sat down and said the courts will decide. No, he said everything. He will not be able to say that nonsense, that the courts will decide, when he knows that he didn't depend on the courts to actually do the right thing. He's not even obeying the courts. In the first place, you cannot bring somebody criminally into the courts and say the courts will decide. How? You have already flaunted, you have already gone against international law, and you're talking about the courts deciding. Everything was against the zoo. Yet, these guys negotiated with them, collected money, made sure Anambra election was held. Made sure Anambra election was held. These are the things we're saying. These are signs. That alone disqualifies the members of the DOS. That alone has put them. So when we are talking about Simon now, we're trying to make you open your eyes to some things now. Because as for DOS, there is already an X. And coupled with the fact that they couldn't even raise a fact-finding committee, they are busy collecting monies from Biafrans, even if Mazin and Mekano have said that no contributions in Biafra land is everywhere, left money, collecting money. Instead, they want to build structure in Mazin and Mekano's compound. They want to different things just to keep on extorting the people in the name of projects. And when they want to get that kind of project, they make sure they collect enough. If that thing will cost 10,000 naira, they will make sure they collect 10 million naira and then sort it out to 10,000. The rest is gone. Thank you so much, Ego. Of course, we're on the path of truth. That is what happens. So that alone, two things. One, for the fact that the DOS members permitted the election to hold Anambra election, they didn't even say that they don't want general election in Biafra land, even after, let's just assume that they just tried, it's a trial and they allowed Anambra election to hold so that Mazin Ambikan will be freed. And then he was not freed, and suddenly 1 year plus, there's going to be a general election. That is when they would have now shown their weights. But they never said anything about it. Some of them were busy campaigning for one politician and all of that. They kept quiet. They have been bribed in the first place. So how can you come talk about election? They have been told to keep quiet. They never said anything about it. They kept quiet. They never talked about fact-finding committee. They never talked about holding the seat at home and other things to continue. These three things disqualify them, and is evident to us that these guys have questions to answer about Mazin Ambikan. Mazin Ambikan's kidnap and extraordinary rendition. Just have to tell ourselves the truth. We just have to tell ourselves the truth. They have questions to answer. They have questions to answer. Now, Simon's side, we already have everything. We already have everything intact. We already have everything intact. That these guys in the DOS, working under the office of the DOS, are already indicted based on what. Now let's go to the other side. As soon as DOS members were doing, obviously that these guys were working on the psychic of Biafrans, they suddenly moved attention to Simon, because Simon was put everything that people say. Simon was saying, yes, the people, the sit at home must be, and this must hold, and this one must give account. We both must give account to the people, and the DOS are doing this, and now buying into the emotions of the people. Mazin Ambikan said I should broadcast on Radio Biafra, but they wanted to hijack my platform. Everybody was saying, wow, why can this evil go on? So many things attacked the minds of Biafrans to embrace Simon. But you know why? You know what? When you are controlled by emotion, you are going to be blinded to things you need to see. So Biafrans became controlled by that emotional language of Simon, using his platform to blackmail, not really blackmail anyways. Of course, some of them were true, but was exaggerating on some stuff and making it look like he's so pure in this whole thing, that he bought over the emotions of the people, just like what Absalom was doing to the Israelites in those days when he wanted to take over David's throne, his father's throne. He came up, he started telling the people, oh, I wish I'm the king have done, I would have set these laws, I would have done taking these actions, nothing will happen. And then they began to see, wow, this guy is a great guy. Let's enthrone him. Before you know it, Absalom took over. When he saw that he has won the hearts of the people, he took over the reins, and the people began to support him. He's the new king. David was not. That's why David no get action, just like I'm here. Some here with action. They think action is just to come out and start making noise, carrying AK-47, or just doing one noise every. You don't know when you have failed. You have failed. Go back to the drawing board, re-strategize. That is what Accountability and Transparency Group is now poised to do. We want to re-strategize. The old plan is flawed. If you like, say Simon is doing this. If you like, say Simon is doing that. If you like, say Chinansa is doing this. If you like, say that one is doing that. They would all come to the same place where they keep taking money from you, buying bullets and stealing your resources, building houses and doing lots of things for themselves. You can never get freedom that way. You can never get freedom like that way. They will keep on the same jamboree. Is this the first time was Ricky carried weapons, and they carried weapons everywhere now? Asari and Co carried weapons, and the militants in the creek carried weapons. They said they want to save their land. In the end, it was money. Those people who hurriedly carry weapons are always people who are looking for resources, monies, or an opportunity to have some stuff for themselves. Because we didn't have a better plan. There was no concrete plan on ground. There was no concrete plan on ground. That is why, as Accountability and Transparency Group, will not go that same way, that same narrative. No! Because whether you like it or not, go all around and dance all around, you'll still come to what we're saying. We must sit down and plan. We must sit down and plan. So if you're out there and you don't know that we must sit down and plan, just get it loud and clear now that we must sit down and plan. Today, Simon and Co will be doing the fundraising. You better just be you better not be stupid. You better stop those funding of criminals, because I'm giving you signs and how to identify these people so that you don't get yourself using your own hand to buy your death, or empowering criminals and militants and criminal cartels to take over Biafra land. Because once they take over Biafra land, they will institute laws that you yourself will be begging. You will not be able to. You will now be begging for freedom. That is when you now see other militia groups will now come up. There will now be an internal fighting, killings, and all of that. That's what it is. Look at what is happening in South Sudan. As soon as the group that helped them get freedom from Northern Sudan, as soon as that group helped them get the freedom, that group was the group that formed the government. Now, that group didn't really have the mind of the Sudanese in heart. That group, and that they put up laws and rules that made the people uncomfortable. And other militia groups also saw it as an opportunity to come and fight them. Then the people became divided. Some are supporting this camp, some are supporting this other camp. Now the people became divided. Today there is in-house fighting, and in-house fighting is what causes implosion. Implosion. Check that word. If we a militia group, if you support and fund a militia group, you get anything called freedom for you. If you fund militia groups that have given you signs, these signs I'll do the next stage of these signs on next week. Maybe tomorrow. I'll begin it from tomorrow, because it's already time, so I don't want to. I've already ended at the point of the DOS. I'll continue from that end, where and open your eyes to more signs, so that you will know these things. If you allow any militia group take control of your freedom fighting, and you fund them and give them applause in spite of the signs they are showing you, you will end up in their bread like the butter. Because what they would do is this. They would make sure they do all the water you are talking about, and make sure that they frustrate. And which they cannot anyways, but if they are able to help you get freedom, they will form the government. When they form the government, they will be the one in control of the funds. And as they were not able to give you account during the time you were fighting for freedom, they will not give you account they will not give proper account. They will make sure that the law does not make them give proper account of the resources because they are from the government. So they won't keep stealing. Because the more you steal, the more you want to steal. They will not give you account for anything. Just like Simon said that Azuka is accountable to him. He can never be accountable to you as a Biafran. Justice, they will kill you if you are not supporting the government. They can send militias and set you up, just like they are doing now. Look at what they did to Okeke. Amaka, setting her up on social media. That is what they will do to you. So you will now get into trouble. You will be begging another militia criminal group to come and save you. That is when there will be an internal war in Biafra, which will be more destructive. It should have been better to stay under the contraption, because under the contraption, at least they do their killing stylishly and try to keep you, as long as you keep accepting where you belong, they leave you on that. But these ones, they'll come massively. So the issue here is we cannot permit criminal groups take over the control of our freedom. That is why we must disown every one of them, because they have given us enough signs. I am going to continue on the narrative of the signs tomorrow, which I'm going to open your eyes to further from the point where I stop now. I'll continue from there. And I'm going to open your eyes more to other things you need to know about this. Because these are the things you must know. You must know things, they are very important. Only those who don't reason process information. I've seen some e-frogs. Let's allow them, just allow the e-frogs. That's their job, you know. They always send them, once they see, they send them, go there, constitute nuisance. Don't blame them. Let them continue their e-frogging business. We cannot afford criminal gangs, cartel, whether under Simon, whether under the member of the DOS. Begin to sign. The network. Whether under any member of the DOS as constituted by Mazin and Mekano before they began to sack themselves. All of them. Which any group that would help us get our freedom, change their minds to do the right thing. But the truth about it, still have a long way to go as Biafrans. We are not yet close. We are not close to freedom. All these things are noise making. All these things you are seeing, you killing here, you run away, they go to the community, kill people. We'll keep killing our people and losing our young men as we continue this narrative of go here, kill the people in checkpoints, shout water on social media. Military will come back and kill the young people in those communities. And then we'll begin to reduce and reduce. We have a long way to go. Is it just these 2, 3, 4, 10, 20 people that gather together, or 10, or let's even say 100 men that they call their liberation army or so, that will save the whole of Biafra land or give us freedom? The only thing they can do is to constitute nuisance in the communities and attract the wrath or attract the killing, the Nigeria agents in those communities. What they will only do is to go to one government stuff, burn it, and run away. When they run away, Nigeria contraption, Zoom, that will come to that organization. They go to the communities where those crime, should I call it crime, or those killings have happened, kill the people in those places. After killing the people, those people who came to kill the military and all of that will not be there to save the people or that community when they come to kill them. You cannot get freedom like that. Instead, the Nigeria contraption will see it as an opportunity to be reducing your numbers, reducing your population, using you. You come and kill, you think you are making sense. Hey, water. Oh, hey, 5 soldiers down. Hey, at Mpo Junction, we kill 5 soldiers. And that checkpoint, we kill. The soldiers will now come back to Mpo Junction. Every young man passing that moment, they will drag them into the van, beat some of them, shoot some of them, harvest their organs, go to the communities, shoot some of them, rape the ladies there, destroy their houses. You that came to do that water, you have run away, you have gone to social media to post it so that they will give you more money. More contributions will come. They have already killed them. They are already killing the villagers. You will not go and post the villagers that they've been killed. Look at what happened at Mbano. And you think that's how you're going to get freedom? They know that you are helping them reduce the numbers of men that can fight when the time comes for Biafra. So they will allow you to continue. They will allow you to continue to commit those small crimes that you're committing. They will allow you go there. They will set your people up. They will send their military, go to that checkpoint, put them there. When you go to kill them, they will come and kill your young men. They are reducing the numbers of your young population because they know that when the time comes to fight, you might need these people. So they kill them. And knowing that you are helping them to help you deplete your numbers, that's what they keep doing. Have you seen them ever, whenever any soldier is killed in the north, for instance, anything happens to the soldiers by Boko Haram, do you see them come to that place to raid anybody? They don't go there to raid anybody because they don't have stress. They have stress with you and they want to conquer you totally. They want to take over your land. So help them kill yourselves. And then help them get their men to come and kill your people by killing one or 2 or 3 of their men. That's the program. So when you help them kill 2, 3 soldiers, they sacrifice those 2, 3, 4 soldiers to kill more of your people. So when you kill 5 of their soldiers, they see it as sacrifice. They bring their men now to communities to kill more of your people. Which means when you kill 5 soldiers, they kill 200 of your young men, or 100 of your young men, or 50 of your young men. Then you have reduced. Before you know it, you have only children and old people in Biafra land. When the time comes to really when the time comes and we are prepared for this whole fighting thing, we don't have young men again. Is that how stupid we want to continue to be? You keep shouting water on social media. You don't know the implication. And you think you funded them, they have bought AK-47. So what do you expect? What do you expect? We have to be wise. It is time for us to discuss and get ourselves on. We are preparing very, very strongly. We have put certain things on the background. By the time we begin to carry out what we're doing, we carry out the programs one after the other, then we will now position you well to discuss because we are setting up the platform in which we're going to engage everyone to discuss. The platform is being worked on now. On that platform, we're going to engage, we're going to segment all of us because we're going to discuss under the auspices of various segments. I'm not going to spell it out now until it's out. So we're going to have those segments where we're going to discuss lots of things, we're going to discuss lots of things, and then we're going to come together to form a formidable program for our freedom. Because now we are back to the basis. We are back to the dragon flag has been destroyed by some of our people. But that dragon flag will be lifted soon, and we are going to lift that dragon flag. But we need to do some things to set things in order so that dragon flag will be lifted again as Mazen Amkan has intended. That's what it is. So we have set the floor. We are setting the floor. We are setting the platform where we are going to have you come on so that we can engage in discussing. That platform is going to come with a unique program that will give a better meaning to our freedom fight. Because if you keep doing the same thing over and over, you'll keep getting the same results. So we are coming with another tactics. We might be few beginning. We'll keep increasing. That's what we want to do. Some of the ESN men, sincere and the strong. We're going to get there. We're going to get results. Hopefully, we're going to get results. by God's grace. I want to thank you guys. Hopefully tomorrow, if I don't come tomorrow, then Monday I'll be here or so. And whenever I'm going to be around, I'll just send messages around to say I'm going to come up. Please like this video and share it on all your social media platforms. I want to thank all my partners and colleagues, on the comment section, dealing with the e-frogs, handling the e-frogs as they should be handled, and teaching them wisdom. We don't get angry with them because we know they are e-frogs. They are electronic frogs. Frogs don't have sense. They jump from one platform to the other, constitute nuisance. That's all they can do. So pardon them anyways, because frogs are meant to jump around and make their funny noise. That's what they do. That noise is irritating. So whatever you see that is irritating from them is symbolic as the noise of the frog. You understand it? Oh my God, I see another e-frog has dropped another message. So just allow them express their froggy ministry. And then we keep doing what we're doing. By the time the platform is ready, we're not forming. Let me respond to this e-frog. We're not forming a liaison office where you will just come and bring canopies and put around and bring chairs and invite people and come and eat and drink and then tell you that we have opened a liaison office and that's all. And after that, you don't see anything again. We're not doing that. We don't do that nonsense. We're not doing that stuff. We show you that we have bought a house in Maryland, and then we tell you we're going to put Biafra flag in front of it, and then up and corner, right hand, top and corner. And in the end, you set up a canopy, you bring chairs and all of that. And then till today, you have not shown us anything going on in the office, actively going on, at least for the next 1 week or 2 weeks. Every day, there should be an upload of activities, video activities going on in the office, activities and all of that. We don't go into that level. So, so as an e-frog, I believe that you always want to you want to be excited, because frogs are excited when they get into the water. They are excited, so they make those noise. Wah, wah. So e-frogs is good when you come into a platform. All you want to do is just to be excited by what you think is happening, and then continue misbehaving. But we are teaching you also. Just learn, go back and read this stuff, and go through the messages and learn and get yourself out of that froggy mindset, so that you can become reasonable and begin to think from your head and not from your anus, and to begin to become reasonable. And we are teaching you to become knowledgeable and reasonable. So it's good anyways, when you want to teach people new things and things they don't know, and they don't know how to use their brains, they just have fat and oil in their head. It's not functioning. They just want to be there and just, when they shake their head, the oil is shaking. That's what is in their head. So they can't reason. How can people reason with fat and oil in their brains? There are no tissues for that, So we are hopeful Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be set free. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will come out safely. Nothing is going to go wrong with him, and we are going to get our freedom. We are working. Things have been destroyed. Things have gone very bad, very, very bad. So when we tell you that we have to take time to really set things aright, it will take time. Because I assure you, I'm waiting for those people who said that by the end of this year, they're going to get it done. We're waiting for them. They're going to get freedom by the end of this year. The one say, I know when Biafra will come. And the election came and was held very well. The election was held very, very well. The monies contributed to stop it never worked. The next thing they said, they have used the money to rent apartments for exile stuff, because they don't want to have a front for taking monies from you. Today, I'm going to be holding fundraising again to steal from those they're going to steal from those mugus, those who have allowed themselves to be stolen from. But we'll keep telling you, keep preaching the gospel. If you want to listen, you listen. If you don't want to listen, you continue to allow yourself to be defrauded. That's your business. It's not my pocket, it's your pocket, it's your stupidity, it's not my stupidity. So continue. As long as we are here, we'll continue to speak the gospel of truth alongside with my colleagues in the comment section, saying the truth and teaching you from there and letting you see how stupid you are, and then teaching you the right thing to know at the same time. I want to thank you guys for being here. The weekend, today is the last day of the month, at the same time, the last day of the week, 30th of September 2023, and today is Saturday. Tomorrow begins, a new month, and of course, the first day of the week again. And also, that we don't celebrate Nigeria election. Independence, because it's a flag independence. You've not gotten independence yet. You are still under the proxy administration of the Fulanese. You are still under that. And so we are not celebrating. So just know, no matter who is some memo or something that tomorrow, no celebration of 1st of October. We already know that. Leave all this memo. They just want to be relevant by issue. No, the issue is that we know that we don't celebrate 1st of October. So nobody needs to teach anybody to know that. You already know 1st of October. We don't have time for that nonsense. We're not part of that nonsense. We're not system of the contraption. Contraption is as soon as the platform is ready, we'll inform you, and then you guys will begin to get yourself registered in the platform. And then on that auspices of that platform, we'll now begin to speak real things. You are going to see how we're going to get into this business of freedom fighting through economic development programs. So you're going to see how we're going to achieve it. Very, very unique way. Thank you all. Thank you, Mike, coming here and for handling the e-frogs. Thank you so much. And e-frogs, I guess you guys have learned some stuff today. And you'll go back to your master and tell them how your froggy business is really frustrating. And telling them that you have to give up the black man. The definition of it. They see brown colored people, they say they are black because they depict us as evil people. And they call themselves white because are they white? Is their skin white? Or we don't know what white is anymore. Thank you all. I appreciate you guys. God bless you. Very good. Enjoy the rest of the day or your weekend. See tomorrow, hopefully, I'll be here and we're going to talk again. I'll continue the second part of this particular broadcast.